Hey guys, Mr. Mulaney here. Hope everyone's having a great summer. Got a stack of leftover open God questions from the end of the year. And yeah, given my free time, I figured what could be more fun than going through the catechism and learning more about the Catholic Church's teachings on various issues. So, I'm gonna do two this morning here. Um, First one is lying to your parents a sin if what you're lying about is good? I can only imagine what prompted this question. Um, Short answer is yeah, it's still a sin. Some documentation. Um, let's see here. Yeah, so 2197 in the Catechism. Obviously, fourth commandment: honor your father and mother. This has always been understood to um, include obedience. So parents, and not just parents, but a number of people like teachers and elders, ancestors, um, employers, leaders, um, government administrators. We are all supposed to honor and have affection and gratitude towards them. This doesn't mean that we do what, no matter what they say, we do it. Um, but to the degree that they are exercising legitimate authority, um, we are bound to obey them unless what they're commanding is contrary to the good. So, let's see here. Also, lying is what is the work of the devil. As Jesus said, uh, in the devil there's no truth. When he lies, he speaks according to his own nature, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Remember, in Genesis, the first thing that the serpent says is a lie, right? Like, did God really say you can't eat of any of the trees? Um, oh no, certainly you won't die. He knows that you'll become like gods. That's why he's holding out on you. Um, and yeah, to lie is to speak or act against the truth in order to lead someone into error. So sometimes we're mistaken and we lead someone into error, um, but that's different than a lie because we weren't saying what we were saying in order to lead them into error. It just happens that we were wrong. Um, this can also include not speaking about things, right? Um, and yeah, is it a mortal sin? It depends on what you're lying about and to whom you're lying and how much it affects people. And let's see here. The last part is remember, we learned this in class. One may not do evil so that good may result from it. So even though if it's a nice lie or it makes your parents think something good, um, it's still bad because your parents are owed the truth. You're bound to obey them and honor them. So don't lie to your parents. It's a sin. Which is to say, it's bad for you. Like, it might suck in the short run to tell the truth to your parents about something that, you know, will almost certainly lead to your punishment or whatever. But it's actually better for your soul, better for your freedom. You'll become more yourself if you are truthful to everyone, including especially your parents. Second question here: can you blame the devil for your actions and for bad things that happen to you? There was someone who had a horrible thing happen to their family and said the devil tried to tear their family apart, even though it was the fault of one family member. So yeah, this is where it gets tough. Speaking of the devil, father of lies. Um, it's true that the devil can tempt us. It's true that the devil wants bad things for us. But we can't blame the devil for our own actions or for bad things that happen to us when they are clearly the fault of someone else. So, um, the church teaches that we are always ultimately responsible for our own actions. So, great quote here from this is a papal encyclical from JP2 called Veritatis Splendor, the splendor of truth. Um, in paragraph 71, he talks about human acts are moral acts because they express and determine the goodness or evil of the individual who performs them. So what we do determines who we are. It's not just like, oh, what we do changes the world around us, but it's actually you change your own character and you determine your own spiritual traits. And he quotes one of the church fathers, St. Gregory of Nyssa here. We are in a certain way our own parents, creating ourselves as we will by our decisions. So you are your own mother and father when it comes to who you are morally speaking, because you're choosing what you're going to do. And that changes who you are. That creates who you are. So we can't say like, oh, bad thing happened, the devil made me do it. No, you have free will, which is the next part here. We are rational beings, and we have the dignity of initiating and controlling our own actions. Man is rational. Humans are rational, and therefore like God. They're created with free will and master over their acts. So that means that no one can force us to do anything. If we are forced to do anything, like we're asleep, we're sleepwalking, and we do something, we wouldn't actually say that you did it. In fact, even just in civil law, that distinction is made. Let's see. Temptations, we would say, those can come from the devil, but not every temptation is necessarily coming from the devil or his demons. We have, strictly speaking, 3 enemies that are working against us: the world, the flesh, and the devil. It's this classic, division of things. Like we're always doing battle against the world, the flesh, and the devil. And temptation can come from any of these. So CCC 407, and yeah, by our parents' person, the devil has acquired a certain domination over man, even though man remains free. So this means we can, we're going to be laboring in our life to do the good. It won't be easy for us, as it was for Adam and Eve, to do the good. And yeah, we die, right? We're under the power of death. So it takes work for us to see the truth, and yeah, on our own, we would just be subject to the power of death if it weren't for God's grace. And the consequences of original sin of all men's personal sins put the world as a whole in this sinful condition, aptly described in St. John's expression, this sin of the world, as in, behold the Lamb of God, behold him who takes away the sin of the world. And it can refer to the negative influence exerted on people by communal situations and social structures that are the fruit of men's sins. So think of racist laws or discriminatory laws, prejudices that we have, sexism, things that are just kind of baked into the world, and it takes work for us to overcome these unjust situations. That would be the way in which the world is sinful. The world is created good, creation is good, but when we speak of the world as one of our spiritual enemies, that's what we're referring to. It's like the messed up things about the world that are social in nature, social sin. And yeah, the Catechism talks about how our life is a battle. And then 25:15, 25:16, the flesh. So this is talking about concupiscence. Our own bodies make it hard for us to do the good. And it's not necessarily the devil, it's just one more consequence of original sin. And it's the movement of the sensitive appetite contrary to the operation of human reason. So the sensitive appetite, this isn't just like desiring food, it's your ability to sense things and your desire for things. And when Adam and Eve were first made, our first parents, the things that the way that they sensed the world, the things that they desired, they were always in line with human reason. They never desired anything unreasonable. It wasn't until the devil tempted them that it says that Eve saw the fruit and that it was desirable. So at first, like the bad thing wasn't even desirable to us. So St. Paul identifies it with the rebellion of the flesh against the spirit. This is why the resurrection is such good news, guys, because our resurrected, glorified bodies, the thing that will be different about it, it'll still be fleshly, it'll still have physical substance to it. The thing that will be different, though, is it will be perfectly in line with our soul. It will be perfectly obedient to our best desires, to our reason. Like, the part of you that struggles to want to exercise or eat right, that won't even be a thing in the resurrection. It'll just be so natural. It'll be like breathing. And yeah, it unsettles man's moral faculties, and without being in itself an offense, inclines us to commit sins. So, all of this is to say, temptation can come from a lot of places other than the devil. And yeah, it can come from other people. So, the devil tried to tear their family apart. We can certainly say the devil was happy to see a family torn apart. But yeah, the devil's clever. He knows that often he doesn't need to do extra stuff in order for us to tear ourselves apart, right? Because we also have the world and the flesh to contend with. And then temptations, though, and here's the thing about temptation that we really need to keep in the forefront of our mind. God allows us to undergo temptation, but not so much that we don't have the grace to overcome it. So, no testing has overtaken you that is not common to humanity. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your strength. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape so that you may be able to endure it. This is the Catechism quoting First Letter to Corinthians, chapter 10. This is kind of the basis for God never closes a door without opening a window, that sort of thing. Yeah, God never wants us to sin, always wants us to be able to overcome temptation, and always supplies us with the grace necessary to overcome the temptation. So if you're ever feeling like, oh, this is so hard, why can't I get any help? The help's there. You just have to latch onto it. It might not be what you're looking for, but it's what you need. And yeah, I say this having fallen prey to temptation so many times in my life. I'm not any stranger to this. It takes a lifelong effort of sanctity. The more you do it, though, the easier it gets, I'm told. And from my own experience, that's true. The more you overcome a certain temptation, the better you get. It's almost like muscle memory in accessing the grace that you're given by God in that moment to overcome the temptation. So, yeah, can't blame the devil for your actions. You can blame him for certain bad things if it's pretty clear that the world and the flesh aren't responsible for it. Or the devil might be using the temptations of the world and the flesh. But even then, you can't blame him for the bad things that happen to you because, yeah, there's grace available in the midst of even bad things that aren't your fault. God is giving you the grace to overcome it and to endure and to unite your suffering to Christ. So, yeah, don't blame the devil for your own fault, right? But rather give thanks to God for the help that he supplies you and make sure you access it, obviously. So that's all for this morning. Yeah, a whole list of questions I'll be going over in the next couple weeks here. Stay tuned.